Well, guys, for both of you, how exciting is it to be pitching in a winner take-all game?
I mean, I think it's a great time. I think it's just a time to go out there, be ready when your name's called, and just lay it all out on the line.
Absolutely. I mean, great environments everywhere we've been. Looking forward to another good one tomorrow.
You guys will play when they tell you to, but they move the starting time up 7 hours. Does that have any effect at all?
No, I don't think so. We've had plenty of day games this year.
Yeah, plenty of them.
Questions? Are either of you two starting tomorrow?
I haven't heard anything.
Same.
Yeah, no telling.
Questions?
Is it almost fitting that, I mean, you guys went back and forth with the Tigers all year. This series has had big swings back and forth. Is it almost fitting that this Game 5 comes down to a winner-take-all with them?
So we've always had close games with them. They've always been good games. I think it just comes down to who gets the hit, who gets the shutdown inning. And, I mean, it's shown in these 4 games. It's kind of been flip-flop, just like you said.
Until now, for both of you, what is the biggest game that you've pitched in?
I think it's going to be tomorrow. Yeah.
I mean, prior to tomorrow.
I guess last night or the ones before. I mean, these are the most significant games, I think, of either of our careers, for sure mine. So, yeah.
I mean, I'd say all of them. I mean, this whole season's feels like every game's been really important, obviously. So I think it's just continuing on.
Over here on the right side.
Should either of you be asked to start tomorrow, how might that change the way you prepare for the game? I mean, Hunter, obviously you have a background even in the organization as a starter. Do you try to lengthen your prep time? Do you just say, hey, 20 minutes beforehand, I'm going to start to get hot? How does that work for you?
I think I just get ready before the game instead of during the game. I think that would be the only difference.
Yeah, I would do whatever I could to keep it as close to what we've been doing this year up to this point.
Hunter, you and Brant Herder, I think, are both from Canton, Georgia. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if he's from Canton. I've seen his name a lot. I'm sure I played against him growing up.
That was what I was going to ask. Have you faced him before, do you know?
No, I know he was at Georgia Tech when we faced him when I was down at Georgia State during our midweek games. But I can't recall. I mean, there's so many players down in Georgia. It's hard to remember everybody's names. But I definitely know the name, know he's from Georgia, and, seen him around.
How both you guys kind of held up to the workload that you've had this year? What have you learned to, how to get through these so many innings, so many appearances?
I think there's definitely a balance of learning how to, manage the workload, and especially with a different schedule, having less days off, longer stretches like the 10, 15 games in a row. But I think that you learn by just watching the guys who've been here before and take what they do and understand kind of their mentality and how to approach things, and you implement it into your routine however it fits best.
Yeah, I think you just take it day by day. It's the only way you can do it.
I mean, you were a starter. Do you feel like you've completely adjusted to this role now?
I don't think you ever really completely adjust. I think you're always making changes, finding whatever works best for you on a day-to-day basis. It could be you need a lot one day, and then you may need very little.
In the middle.
After a game like last night, when you guys get back to your locker, or if it's on the team bus and you're looking at your phone for the first time, what are the reactions like from family and friends? And is it a lot more than maybe after a game in May?
It's definitely a lot more. It's nice seeing, texts of, encouragement, especially when you see the ones that's like, hey, proud of you and all that stuff. It's really, it hits hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my family's definitely pumped. They've been watching every game. They're loving it.
For two guys who have to stay kind of even keeled, what's it like hearing from your family, who I'm sure it's much more difficult for them to do that?
I don't know. I think my dad's buddies have asked him, like, are you nervous? Are you nervous? He's always like, no, I'm not nervous. I know deep down he is.
A lot's been made about the fact that Cleveland and Detroit have played so many times, literally 2,000 plus games, but had never played in the postseason until this year. Given that the rosters on both teams are so young, do you feel like maybe there's a different part of a rivalry between these two teams kind of starting with, having to play each other with such big stakes?
I mean, that's a hard question. I think it's always been there. I think it just means more, especially at this time.
Any more questions?
Yeah, with Class A last night, is that what you expected from him after the game two, what happened in game two?
Yeah.
I don't think we even really overthought game two either. Couple singles that found a hole and, one good swing, so it wasn't like the guys were just whacking him around where he's like walking guys or giving up a bunch of slug. Even yesterday I thought Malloy took a really good swing on a good pitch. But then other than that, I thought he got back to doing exactly what he's doing.
He seems so calm out there. Is that how you pick up from him too?
He always is. I mean, he throws close pitches that don't get called strikes. He's always laughing out there. So, I think the game moves in slow motion for him. It's one of the reasons he's the best in the world.
Andy,
It seems like it kind of goes without saying, but just what does Quan mean to you guys at the top of the order?
When he goes, we go, that's for sure. The things that our offense was doing early in the year, specifically when he was hitting like 800, he's the catalyst to get on base for Hosey and Nails. So, what he's doing right now is special. It's, obviously, what he did this year, I think making more of a name for himself, but you really make a name for yourself in the playoffs, and I'm pumped to see him doing that.
Can you, as much as you are allowed, I guess, can you take us through like the magic touch Carl Willis has during a mound meeting?
He's been there so many times. He comes out with just an attack plan, which is, something I've learned from him. And when I do my mound visits, without him, it's just to have a plan. Usually when you're doing a mound visit, either A, your pitcher's struggling, or B, there's you just need to break up some momentum. And you got to assume that pitcher's out there on a lonely island by himself, overthinking things, trying to figure out what to do, or maybe thinking about the wrong things. And in any situation in the big leagues, you just have to have a plan, an attack plan, whether you're on offense or defense. And what Carl does, he goes out there and says exactly like a little recipe for how to get that hitter out in this moment, or maybe this hitter and the next hitter out in this given moment. And it just takes away a lot of pressure from all the other overthinking. So, every time he comes out there, I feel like the guys get more relaxed and more confident in their attack plan.
Hedges, is it fitting that this is coming down to a game 5, considering you guys have gone back and forth with the Tigers virtually in every game this season?
Yeah, of course. That's a really good team over there, and my God, these games have been so much fun. We didn't expect anything less. We knew we were going to get their best ball, and I feel like we're doing the same thing. So it's going to be a dogfight tomorrow, that's for sure.
After game 3, a lot of the conversation was about aggressive managing and pinch hitting early, and questioning, I think, was a lot of that. What do you say after game 4, where it seemed like Stephen Vogt pushed all the right buttons and everything sort of hit, and you guys came through in the big at-bats that needed to sort of come through?
I think wins and losses answer all the questions. I think if we lost that game, you're going to say he made terrible decisions. If we won the game, you're going to say he made brilliant decisions. So that's all it seems to come down to. If we win, you're smart. If you lose, you're dumb. That's kind of how sports work.
Hey, Austin, the way you're talking right now, the connection you have in the clubhouse and everything, have you thought about managing someday?
I just want to stay in the game as long as I can. I love the game. I love the day-to-day. I love the clubhouse. I love the boys. I'd like to keep playing as long as I can. I'm going to play till someone taps me on the shoulder and says I'm not good enough anymore. And then after that, we'll see what happens.
Would you like to do that though? I mean, like Stephen Vogt was a catcher 2 years ago, and here he is managing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have really any role. Like I haven't really thought too much about it because I know I still got ideally 7-8 years of playing left in me. But when that time comes, I mean, yeah, I'd love to do that at some point.
You know, it's game 5 of the series. You know this team so well. You've seen them recently so much. How much does your prep for hitters change? Or is it kind of like, no, I'm kind of going over the same notes and the same things, and, you know, we've got the same sequences, the same pitches to guys. Is there differentiation from game to game in that for you?
Yeah, there is, but I think one of the things that makes us really good, you know, Bo specifically, is watching the game. We go in with a game plan, but most importantly, we go in knowing our pitchers' strengths and how they, you know, how they attack guys when they're at their best. But then we're letting the hitter tell us what they're looking for. There's so much information you can take from every single pitch, whether it's a swing, a foul ball, a take, you know, a statue take, a flinch take, you know, is he early, is he late? What did we throw him the at-bat before? There's so many things in the game that matter more than, I guess, the game plan. And I think, you know, I try and do a good job of that, but Bo has done such an amazing job at that this year. That I think that's one of the advantages we have in the series is that we don't necessarily like predetermine anything. We let the game tell us exactly what to do, and that's what we're going to go out and do tomorrow.
Following up on that, I mean, obviously you have technology available to you in the dugouts. Over the course of the game, how do you keep it all straight? You know, if you have a guy that has a 10-pitch at bat to remember exactly what sequence you threw, what pitches in, how do you process all of that?
I mean, that just you know, it comes with experience, but it just comes with just like that's our position, that's our job. You know, if you're going to be a catcher in the big leagues, in the playoffs, it's a non-negotiable. You have to be able to do that. That's just like one of the things. If you can't do that, you're in trouble. So, you know, it's something that, you know, I feel like I've said this a lot, is just we've practiced it all year. We had 162 games of practicing that formula of breaking down and going back and revisiting at bats to remember, you know, how we attacked guys, and then, you know, having constant dialogue in the dugout so we can, you know, remember what has happened and what we need to do moving forward. But it's just a part of our process of practicing it all year.
You can read pitchers as well as you read hitters. What separates Scooball from the rest of the pack?
He's just got it all. I mean, he's a unit on the mound. He's got crazy deception. He throws 100. He's got 2 different fastballs. He's got wipeout off speed. He's an ultimate competitor. I mean, he's every team's dream to have as your ace. I mean, that's as good as it gets in our league.
Zach, I know you guys are focused and you're even keel or whatever. Have you heard from whether it's friends or family who are just living and dying with every pitch? And, like,
I mean,
We are too. Don't worry. I mean, just even if we don't show it, we're living and dying with every pitch. I mean, yesterday is as stressful as any game could ever be, and I anticipate the same thing tomorrow. But that's also the beauty of the playoffs: is we are living and dying with every pitch, whether we show it or not. It is every single pitch is, you know, means the world to us. So, but it's also the greatest thing ever because you know, the risk reward is so powerful. You know, you lose, it's going to be so heartbreaking, but when you win and you do it right, there is no better feeling in the world.
Any more questions? All right, Austin, thanks a lot for